With the Me Too firestorm raging on in India, more names are tumbling out with every passing day. The latest is Mumbai police is all set to record actress Tanushree Datta's statement that in fact she could not be recorded on Tuesday as no female police officer was present at the Oshiwara police station. Meanwhile, at least 3 women have accused former journalist and current Union Minister of Foreign Affairs MJ Akbar of harassment. Remember, this comes after actor Alok Nath was accused of rape by popular 90s drama producer Vinta Nanda. The show lead actress Navneet Nishan also accused Alok Nath of sexual misconduct. Now, actor Kailash Kher too has been accused of sexual harassment by another singer, Sona Mahapatra, Queen director Vikas Bahal, noted actor Alok Nath, Rajat Kapoor, Gaurang Doshi, producer, have also been in fact named from Bollywood. AIB co-founder Tanmay Bhatt has stepped down amid allegations of sexual misconduct against comedians. Gursimran Khamba and Utsav Chakrabarti are also sidelined. Now, as the hashtag #MeToo movement has shocked India with one account after another, big names which have been tumbling out with every passing day. And now a few women journalists have called out junior Foreign Minister MJ Akbar for inappropriate behavior and harassment. Take a look at this shocking report.
The Me Too firestorm is spreading. From Bollywood to politics, it's sparing none. Days after the fire was lit by a Bollywood actor in India, a union minister is now on the radar. And at least 3 women have accused former journalist and current junior minister for foreign affairs MJ Akbar of harassment. They allege that Akbar would invite female colleagues to his hotel room as part of job interviews. They claim he offered them drinks and behaved inappropriately. One of the journalists has also alleged that the former editor tried to forcibly kiss her in a Mumbai hotel. Akbar was first named in a tweet by journalist Priya Ramani. In her article, Ramani describes how a job interview went. The allegations have put the BJP in a fix. The Women and Child Development Minister Maneka Gandhi has assured strict action, even if those named are powerful people.
इन्वेस्टिगेशन तो ज़रूर होना चाहिए. बहुत जो मर्द होते हैं पोजीशंस ऑफ पावर में, वो अक्सर करते हैं. अब जब औरतों के मुंह खुलने लगे हैं, we should take the allegations very seriously.
Foreign Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, however, was evasive when asked about the harassment charges leveled against a junior minister.
Ma'am, there are serious allegations leveled against Mr. MJ Akbar. These are sexual harassment allegations. You're a woman minister in charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there at least be an internal probe, man? Will there be a probe, man, on the allegations?
The Me Too movement has caught India's political class by surprise. The silence of all parties is indicative of the fear within political circles that name and shame movement could expose more skeletons in the coming days. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I just want to put the record straight because we are questioning a minister in the government of India. We did try to contact and repeatedly, in fact, we tried to speak to Mr. MJ Akbar, but he so far has refused to, in fact, comment on this issue. India Today did reach out to Mr. MJ Akbar for a comment, but as I told you, he has not responded yet. All right, this is our big focus on the burning question, and I quickly want to put across a few questions that we are defining in this debate because there are now multiple facets as far as this debate is concerned, which are now coming out in open. Now, let me just put across a few questions that we, in fact, are putting today this morning. Question number 1 on the burning question today morning, in fact, we are asking is, MJ Akbar, should Prime Minister Modi order an independent probe as far as this minister is concerned? Remember, it's just not about anybody else but a man who, of course, has been a powerful editor and now is a minister, junior minister of foreign affairs. Can Prime Minister Modi and the government, their promises about women's security, won't they be hollow if they don't at least And we are not saying that Mr. Akbar is guilty, but at least go in for an independent probe. Question number 2 that we are asking on, the burning question, should Mr. MJ Akbar resign on moral grounds? This has happened before. There are people, those who have done that, and Mr. Akbar possibly can step down till the time there is a probe. And if he is not found guilty, he is more than welcome to come back and take his position back in the government. Question number 3 that we are asking, and this is a larger question in context of the Me Too debate, misconduct versus assault. Are the lines being blurred now with anonymous Twitter accounts tweeting their experiences against people just by outing the names, throwing out somebody's name? Is that enough? Should there be a larger debate on what exactly constitutes a sexual assault rather than a creepy, inappropriate behavior? Is that line being blurred here? Question number 4 that we are putting out on the burning question, legal steps to follow the Me Too movement. The big question now is, will there be a legal sanctity, or will there be in any way for this movement to actually gain a lot of success like it did against Harvey Weinstein in the United States of America? Should these cases, these charges now be taken to a legal conclusion? Because this is something that a lot of people will be hiding behind. They would be saying we are not guilty till proven by law, and just by putting out the names, is that enough as far as these cases are concerned? Now, let me introduce our guests who are joining us this morning on the broadcast. We have been joined by Flora Saini, actor. We're also being joined by Shrimoy P.U. Kundu, author, columnist of gender sexuality. Mukesh Tyagi, actor, film producer, is joining us on the broadcast as well. Vandana Kohli is a filmmaker who is also with us on the broadcast. Good morning and welcome to all my guests on the show. Before, in fact, I go across and put a few questions to them, I also very quickly want to take you back to Mr. MJ Akbar, because he possibly is the most powerful man who has been accused of sexual misconduct or inappropriate behavior by certain journalists. And what are the options before the government if Prime Minister Modi wants to exercise them right now? Let's just put those 2 questions out quickly and then we'll start with the debate. Options before the government. Option number 1. As we said, the government can very well go ahead and order a court-mandated independent probe against Union Minister of External Affairs MJ Akbar. On the other side, let me also put question number 2 on this. The government can also ask MJ Akbar to step down should the government not utilize these options. That, in fact, we leave it for the authorities, the powers be, to in fact think about. And let me very quickly go across first to my guest and start with you, Flora. From film stars to the ministers to editors, newsroom, there is no space right now, at least in this country, which is left of this whole Me Too movement. And it's good that people are calling out the predators, but is the line being blurred between harassers and inappropriate behavior?
Yes, huge difference, and I feel so happy and proud. That is why I put out the post, last evening. 2007, when I spoke about it and that something wrong happened with me, people just wouldn't believe. Nobody came out to support, except I think Aishwarya Rai, because she was doing a film with Gaurang and she chose to walk out of that film. I myself read the headlines which said that she didn't want to work with a woman beater, which did a lot of, I think she was the only person, but as far as the other people in the industry, I don't think anybody wanted to get involved because it included a known big producer. Right now, I think so many, and I applaud these women who've just come out and they are taking a stand. The reason why I put out the post yesterday was कि यार मेरे साथ तो इतना मारपीट हुआ, yet I could do nothing and I was judged. I was the one who was questioned. And today these women are standing up, talking. So many people are coming to support, and the apology which I probably never got from Gaurang and will never get, the healing that which has taken such a long course. Today I feel at least somewhat lighter, somewhat healed because of the love and support. And my fight has been that, listen, I never lied, किसी ने मेरे साथ गलत किया, please believe me, I'm not a bad person, please give me work. And today I feel कि there are other women like me suffering, and if they are coming up and speaking, and we all come together and speak out, you have no idea what a lovely place this our industry and this world is going to be. Because like I heard somebody say ki it is not gender based. There are men and women who have gone through sexual harassment, and also I believe ki when today we are spreading awareness about little children, for little children, ye bol ke ki if you ever inappropriately touch, speak about it, then as adults are we even setting out an example for them to follow? And only when we are strong can we make them safe. This is actually going to do so much good, because bullying, sexual harassment, physical assault, this is all related, and somewhere you need to stand up, set an example for the children, other women and I know such beautiful women around me who probably have gone through this but have not had the courage to come up and talk about it. I can't even tell you how powerful this is. These last 2-3 days have been phenomenal.
Before I go across to my other guest, I want to bring in Mukesh Tyagi, because Mukesh, what you heard Flora saying right now, and she herself, in fact, was assaulted by her former partner. She has, in fact, spoken about a producer who is from the film industry. And Mukesh, the film industry, there are so many closets, so many skeletons hidden in the closet, which are now tumbling out. Is there now, some sort of a thought process which is going on into the industry, because it should not now take women after women to come out and name their accusers? Shouldn't there be some shame in people, because these things have been spoken about in hushed tones forever against a few of the biggest name in the industry?
Ankit, I think we need not to just confine our discussion or debate on film industry, because it's across all sections.
No, I will talk about everything. I'm just specifically asking you about film industry because we have a woman on our show right now who is in fact accused of producer, and there are names tumbling out of there. You know that I started my show with Mr. Akbar, and I will speak about Mr. Akbar as well. Why don't you speak about the film industry? Because there are too many hidden clauses. It can't be right now the occasion about what about race. It's time to clean up the act.
I fully agree with you, Ankit. Bollywood needs to clean up, and Bollywood is a very vibrant industry. It almost creates a 0.05% of the GDP, and we are the largest producer of the film. We have presence all over the world. In every section you go, people are humming Bollywood number. So Bollywood is connected with a lot of, I think, image building. So we have already started taking a lot of action. Yesterday, I think they have set up an internal committee of complaints within IMPA, within the Film Directors Association, CINTA. They're all constituting the committee. I think that's a result of a great this movement, Me Too. And I think this awareness is spreading like a fire, like a conflagration. I think most of the industry and media houses are setting up the committees, which is very critical, because what will happen if the committees are set up, most of the frivolous or maybe non-frivolous also, there will be one additional filter. So where the reconciliation can happen, where the women are the members. So before coming to the media, I think there will be some kind of scrutiny of any kind of complaints before jumping and naming and shaming.
I want to go to Srimoyi right now. I want to go to Srimoyi Pugh right now. And in fact, before I bring both my other guests, both the ladies in, I specifically want to speak very quickly and shift the focus very quickly back to Mr. Akbar, because he is one of the most powerful men who has been accused of harassment, of inappropriate behavior. The fact is that so far, and we tried to contact a lot of ministers as far as Mr. Akbar is concerned, his colleagues, specifically his senior minister in the government of India, Sushma Swaraj, a woman minister in charge of the Ministry of External Affairs. We tried to contact her. I just want to play this very quickly because she refused to answer any question. Listen in.
And there are serious allegations leveled against Mr. MJ Akbar. These are sexual harassment allegations. You're a woman minister in charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there at least be an internal probe, man? Will there be a probe, man, on the allegations?
You heard her. Absolutely nothing. Not a single word from Sushma Swaraj. Though Menaka Gandhi, the other minister in the government of India, she has said that if there are allegations, they should be probed. Listen in.
इन्वेस्टिगेशन तो ज़रूर होना चाहिए. बहुत जो मर्द होते हैं पोजीशंस ऑफ पावर में, वो अक्सर करते हैं. अब जब औरतों के मुंह खुलने लगे हैं, वी शुड टेक द एलिगेशंस वेरी सीरियसली.
Shimoy Piyokundu, is this in a way symptomatic of the problem, the large scale of the problem that we have at our hands, where powerful men get away because their colleagues, men or women, they decide to look away or not to speak at certain crucial moments?
Good morning, Ankit. I absolutely agree with you. In fact, I don't know if you're aware, but I actually started my career, which is over a decade long, in journalism in Asian Age. That is where I did my first job. And with all due respect to the organization and everything we learned, Mr. Akbar's reputation was notorious. And there were horror stories that we heard as young, trainee journalists. And often we were told, don't enter his cabin, this might happen, that might happen. So actually when this whole Me Too, expose began on social media a couple of days ago, and I was on NDTV, we kept naming Mr. Akbar. We said, it's about time, tomorrow this should happen, and it actually erupted. So, when you talk about ministers, I just want to say something, that this is a country where, convicts, people who contest elections have, rape allegations against them. And the Prime Minister, yesterday a 6-year-old girl was raped in the city in her school, and, violence erupted in the school. We've seen so many incidents of, gross sexual violence and abuse, but the Prime Minister sort of maintains a very diplomatic, numb silence. So this Swachh Bharat Andolan that, we keep tom-tomming about, and we've got the whole of Bollywood, jharu maruing the streets.
Yes.
What about cleaning the conscience of this country? And instead of protecting these powerful misogynist men, what about actually, like many of the panelists are saying, set up independent, inquiry or probe councils, and let there be a fair trial.
Vandana,
and we should stop comparing everything to America. Mein ye hua tha, Harvey Weinstein. In America there is a justice system that works most of the time. But can we really say that about our country? With so many rape cases, the justice
I want to bring in Vandana Kohli at this point of time. Vandana, the other side of the argument, and this is exactly what a lot of men have now possibly trying to shield themselves behind, is that frivolous charges, it may be absolutely inappropriate, but nature of sexual misconduct and assault, and the line is being blurred. There can be somebody who has been sexually inappropriate, has made certain gestures, but does that qualify as sexual harassment? Is possibly the argument that people are dividing right now. And you also know that even on social media, there have been now these anonymous accounts which are coming in. For the Me Too movement also not to derail and to succeed, it has to be a very carefully crafted movement rather than everything and anything being barged into it.
Yes, Ankit, actually it's a very, very pertinent question, but I agree with Flora when she says that harassment, inappropriate behavior and assault are actually related. It starts with inappropriate behavior. You get away with it, you become a harasser, you get away with it, and it leads to assault. I mean, the moment you break one barrier, and this is a known phenomenon in any kind of psychology, you break, whether it's a verbal violence or it's physical violence or it's sexual violence, the moment you break one barrier, it becomes easier to break other barriers. So, do we need to define what harassment or sexually inappropriate behavior is? Yes. If there are ICCs being set up at various organizations, they can very well define that this is inappropriate behavior at the workplace, this is inappropriate behavior wherever you are working. That's one. The second thing is your question about, do people who are harassers and molesters get away because their colleagues do not take action? I think that is a very, very pertinent question, and that is part of the problem. People do not want to acknowledge, it is uncomfortable, they do not want to rock the boat. Look at what happened, what Vinta Nanda said. What shocked me more was that not only did the lead actor of her show misbehave, he actually went after her company, he went after her personally, time and again. he used his networks
Yes.
to get back at her and destroy her completely because she stood up for the fact that he had misbehaved with the lead actress on the set. That, to my mind, is extremely dangerous and is a malaise that we need to address as soon as possible.
You know, Mukesh, I want you to come in on this because this is a very important point that, in fact, Vinita was making. The fact remains, Mukesh, that there are people, those who turn a blind eye. They know what is happening, they see what is happening, and they don't call people out, harassers out. And that is true specifically for the film industry as well.
I fully agree with Vanda, and I think it need to be nip in the bud the moment you see any misconduct on set. There should be some kind of a unwritten narrative of the code of conduct in any of these film sets, or maybe where they're in the makeup van, what kind of protocol we need to follow. I think it's very important to lay down. Like, you know, this sexual harassment was basically coined by Yale lawyer, I think her name was Catherine McKinnon. And there was a deliberation on what is a touch, what is appropriate touch, and what is inappropriate touch. Now, there were concepts like quid pro quo or harassment, but the touch was basically defined. It could be the subjective discretion of the victim. Now, if one person finds the touch has got a sexual flavor into it, other person is not finding the same thing. Now, if somebody wants to make use of it, whether sensuality was involved in the touch or not is a subjective discretion of the victim. So therefore, there is a very thin line which is obliterating between this, and it can explode a lot of victimization cases.
Mukesh,
I'd like to come to this.
I'm coming to you. I'm just coming to you. Just give me a second and let me get in a question from Flora as well. Flora, because you know, when we were talking to you, you also said it's also about outsiders being made to feel weak as far as the industry is concerned. Is that the problem as specifically for the film industry or any industry? When you go into it, you are up against the boys club, they protect each other. That in fact becomes a problem for many women to come out and speak because they see all of these men, powerful people together stacked against them.
Yes, that happens a lot, and but I say, you know, I think how the times have changed, because here we are, a few women, exploited ones, who are coming together, and we are roaring like tigresses, and they are bloody amazing. They are actually sitting down and taking note and listening to us, and people, the world is on our side. What more do we need? What a change, you know, of time. 11 years, and my God, are we progressing? I feel proud to be a girl in this country and in this industry today.
That's a very important point, and this is exactly what a lot of women who have been part of this movement have been saying, that it is about empowering women, giving them space for them to come out and speak. But I want to take this question further, and I quickly want to take a very quick break. I'm going to come to you right after the short break. I have to take this break because I want to understand whether this movement would be able to sustain and would be able to have the kind of impact that it should legally, socially and culturally as well, unless there is a logical conclusion which is given to these complaints which are coming in against these men. In fact, the Me Too movement, as it makes landfall and many big names are now being thrown out there in the open, the big question also remains for this to go to any logical conclusion. And let me put that in fact question to Vanna. For this to have any logical conclusion, shouldn't this be followed by legal, in fact, action as far as, these complaints are concerned? This can't just be about people writing on Twitter, about people coming out and saying that it's enough to, out or expose these people. If it has to have a larger impact, a lesson out of this, then there has to be legal backing to all these allegations.
I don't completely agree with that, Ankit. I think that people can come out in the social and the public space and say what they want. It can be a choice. They may or may not have the strength to follow the legal route. As Shri Moy said earlier, our legal systems, and we have spoken about this in other shows also, our legal systems are certainly not very robust. They are not very prompt. And it's an absolute ordeal for someone who's already faced an ordeal like this to go. So what can happen is, as the women's organizations are coming out and as legal organizations are taking the onus upon themselves to maybe support people who have been victimized, that is one approach that I think makes more sense if you want to take it to a legal conclusion. One other thing I'd like to say is, Mukesh ji had brought up this question of, it's a subjective touch. A woman may feel this is inappropriate, another woman may feel it is okay. But Flora brought up a very important point, which is that when we teach children, we tell them this is inappropriate touch. It is very evident. There are some very inappropriate, it's very evident. You don't have to, there is no question, there is no debate there. So in that definition, then if a woman feels violated, then and it's inappropriate touch, it is inappropriate touch. There is no subjectivity there. So
okay.
That was one more thing I wanted to say. And one last thing I want to say is, that it is not men against women. Please. This is, and I'm saying this over and over again wherever I can, this is a question of decency versus indecency.
Absolutely.
There are men who are supporting women's voices, who have confirmed a lot of these names, and there are women who may or may not help other women too. I'd like to give you a small example. I once went into a photography booth to take a passport photograph, and it was in Delhi. And the guy who was taking it was a young man, and from his the way he was speaking to me, and from the way he, I could tell that this guy, there's things going on in his head. So as soon as I came out, I told the lady in charge that I feel you need to brief your boy about how he what the things that he's thinking and he's imagining, and how he addresses his clients. She defended him. She defended him. She said, "What do you mean?"
And no, I completely agree. It just can't be about men versus women, because there will be stories. There will be stories about men as well, and they should also come out. I mean, there is no question about it. Just about pitting women against men. As far as harassment is concerned, it is about anybody who chooses to be in a position of power and misusing that position for any sort of sexual favors, or intimidating his colleagues for any sexual favors. That differentiation needs to be made. Shimoy, I want you to come in at this point of time, because the fact remains that you also can't at this very crucial juncture, risk frivolous complaint, anonymous accounts, and there have been many those which are now doing the rounds on Twitter, Facebook, and other social media platforms as well. They can't be used to derail this very important movement, because you do understand at this very important juncture there could be other frivolous complaints being rooted in Me Too, which possibly can derail this entire movement.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ankit. But having said that, I will, firstly applaud Vandana for saying this, and I'm also making this point. This is not a man-woman debate. Okay, this is a question of decency versus indecency. Also, let me say one thing, that yes, there are many anonymous, anonymous accounts, especially on Twitter, which seems to be flooded with allegations. Yes, some of these anonymous accounts, as a lot of people are saying, it's not fair. You can't out somebody and yet keep your own name sort of hidden or camouflaged. But having said that, let me tell you that I was once, at the at the hands of a sexual predator in a leading media organization, and when I took it up with the HR head of that entire group, all she told me was, oh, he's a bit of a drunk, and he's a turkey, and he's not a good guy, kuch nahi hoga tere saath. He does this with everybody. So I think we've normalized horniness, sexual misconduct, and also there is no gender sensitization which happens in professions like, say, Bollywood, advertising, media, music, culture, where men and women work so closely together. So, while we are saying that the anonymous accounts have to be ratified, let's also make it very clear here that every woman who is sharing her sordid account of harassment, inappropriate touch, exploitation, or even in some cases like Vinita's case, assault, is not a liar. It's it's like saying, you know, women misuse section 498, but you know, there are also so many dowry harassment cases.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a fine line, and as I'm saying again and again, for the women who can, they
Okay.
should go for a legal recourse. But let's say, you know, when Tanushri first came out, there were so many allegations where, you know, saying that, oh, she's not taking the legal course.
Yes.
Yesterday, Nana Patekar called a press conference and then backed out of it.
Absolutely.
Now, what do we make of that?
Yes,
right?
Shimoi,
So
I want to
Tanushri
bring
is
in
going
Flora
to the
at this
National
point of time,
Commission
because
of Women. She is going
while
to the
we are
police.
talking
Let's
about
give women time, Ankit. Let's give women time.
Yes, while we are talking about people coming out and women coming out as far as this case is concerned, Mukesh, I'm going to come back to you in just, after we speak to Flora. Flora, it took Vinta, in fact, Nanda, 19 years to come out to speak. You yourself said that it took you more than a decade, in fact, to decide that you will come out and speak. What changed? What tilted this entire status quo for you that you decided to come out and speak today? You were repressed for a very, very long time.
I spoke about it in 2007 and nobody heard. I spoke about it now because I just wanted the women to know कि listen, मेरे को इतनी मार पिटी, I still spoke about it and nothing happened. You girls today, I look at you as my heroes कि you are standing up, standing strong, and maybe when you're alone and you raise your voice, लोग आपको दबा देते हैं. And my confidence was killed. I wanted to go into oblivion because I just wanted to work and not be known by this incident or be judged by this incident. Today, the freedom of actually, maybe I'll never get an apology from Gaurang. Maybe that time everybody looked at me as a liar. Today, when these women stand up and the world tells them, we believe you, I can't even tell you, it's a validation we kind of need, or at least I was looking for. Okay, listen, I was not wrong. I was wronged.
Mukesh, and I'll just put this out. There are people, those who are, as of now, because women are talking about, it's just not about legal, but about till the time there is an atmosphere that people would not work or will not engage with the harassers, that is going to be a biggest difference. In fact, the cost attached, when people would know there is a cost attached to harassment, that is going to be a game changer, not only about taking them to the legal conclusion. And there are few instances, I will put this out, there are few instances where people are now paying the cost. Hrithik Roshan, he came out and he said he doesn't want to work with Vikas Behel. The AIB, in fact, has taken some action. Hotstar has taken some action as far as AIB is concerned. So till the time, Mukesh, there is a cost attached to harassers, and especially as far as the film industry is concerned, there needs to be many more people, those who come out and draw this line. If you harass women, if you harass a man, or if you harass anybody, the industry is going to boycott you. Don't you think that is going to send across a very strong message?
No, I fully agree with you, Ankit. It has created a psychological jitter within the system, and a lot of people are rediscovering their body language, behavior, social interactions. So certainly it has made a very positive impact. But the reason why people are naming and shaming, because people don't have faith in the system. They do not believe in the judiciary is going to deliver justice in a time-bound fashion. Police is going to investigate the matter to its logical conclusion. Look at the Arushi murder case. There are a number of cases where police has goofed up. Now what is going to happen is, if there is some wrong victimization or frivolous case, then you trigger the criminal process. The person can file a criminal case, defamation case under section 500. So what will happen is, you opened your mouth and then you are dragged into the court of law. The police is coming to your house, they're calling you. So the ordeal doesn't come to an end there. Then paparazzi haunting you.
So
the
Mukesh, to a certain extent, to a limited extent, I do agree with what you are saying, that frivolity can't be used as an excuse as far as such cases are concerned. But once again, I come to the basic point of this entire debate of the Me Too movement. Yes, there needs to be a distinction. Yes, people, those who are accusing somebody else, it has potential of ruining somebody's life. So yes, there needs to be checks and balances which are put in place. But ultimately, this is a tipping point. It has come after years of decades of oppression, of people getting away by doing certain things, and at this point of time there possibly would be some collateral damage, but ultimately the important thing right now is to listen to these women, not rubbish. And at least the least that people, those who have been accused, can do is to come out and apologize, because this is something that we are seeing not many are doing. And I talk about from every industry, films, politics, even in journalism, in the newsrooms, till the time people don't understand that you can't get away by harassing somebody, that possibly is going to be the biggest tipping point, changing the course of this entire, discussion, this debate on Me Too. And I possibly think that this movement, this moment gives you that opportunity for a larger cleanup. I thank all my guests for joining me on this enlightening discussion. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me this early morning. Also to Mukesh for joining us and presenting his views on this very, very important, discussion.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.